Hello everyone, welcome to the session on writing an API using Golang. In this session, we'll understand what is a handle function, we'll understand the syntax of it, and then we'll understand how we can write an API using just the handle function, different scenarios around it, and then we'll talk about the default handlers present in Golang, that is redirect handler, timeout handler, not found handler, and what are the use of it. Now let's first start with what a handle function is. Now, this handle function does nothing, but it registered the handler function for a given pattern in the default serve mux. Now, what this default serve mux is, if you want to understand, please look into the session 1 of this tutorial where I've explained this. Now, this function, that is the handle function, is the part of the standard Go library. There is no third-party dependency or there is no third party required to be added. And this handle function exists in the HTTP package of the Go standard library. Now let's talk about the syntax of the handle function. Syntax of the handle function is highlighted in front of you that says it is func handle, pattern string, and the handler of a handle. Now this pattern string is actually the route on which we want to call the handler, and this handler is the object of the user-defined type that implements the handler interface. Now let's practically implement the handle. So what I will do is I write a program that will accept the request on the route of get data, and based on that get data, it will call a function or a user-defined receiver function and return the output to the browser. So I've already copied over the functions and everything for you just to save time. So now you see, as I have told, this handler is nothing but an object of the user defined type that implements the interface. So we have defined a struct here. Name of the struct is custom handler. One property called message. Inside the main method, I have called http.handler. I have told it, okay, I want to call the handler on when the route is get data, and I have told that this is my custom handler and this is the property value it has. In the next line, I told, okay, I want my API to listen to port 5500, or let's say I'll say 6000 port. And here I have passed nil because I want my Golang runtime to decide and use the default submux by default. I don't want to care about it. Now here, this function of what I have written is called as a receiver function. If you want to learn more about the receiver functions, please look into the Go tutorial where I have explained the concept of receiver function. Here we can understand that receiver functions are the functions that we can attach to the struct or the user-defined type in Golang. Receiver function has one property, that is a one handler or a one struct can have one receiver function, not more than that. So this will make sure that when we will call the handler using any route and attach a function to a custom handler, so we will have one struct attached. That means there is only one-to-one mapping. There is no confusion here. Now, how we write the receiver function is this. We will say func, then the bracket, and then we say the handler or the user-defined type where we want to attach this function to. Using this is my handler name or my struct name is custom handler, and inside it I have used custom handler. So this function is using this syntax attached to this custom handler. So whenever this will be called, this will be treated as a handler, and automatically this function will be called to serve the request. Now inside it, so currently I'm ignoring this message, not using this message at all. I'm just saying, okay, my response object should write, hi, I am a handle. Now let's see how this will work. I'll say go run main.go. Let me do allow access. Let me go to the browser and run localhost 6000. Now get data is the route that I want to be handled. It says localhost 6000. It's not running somehow. It says cannot reach, no issues. Let's do one thing. Let's close it and change the port to 5000. Let's see here. I will go there and I will say the port is 5000. You see, it says that, okay, hi, I am a handler. Now, what if I want to route the output that is being passed with it? Now it says message. You see, I have not passed this as a parameter, rather I have just passed an instance. So using this, whatever value I have set it in this struct, that value will automatically be passed here. So what I can do is I'll say this dot write and it can be c dot message. It will automatically take it. Now let me show you. I'll say go dot run dot go. Now instead of hi I am a handle, it will print hi I am a struct from handle function. Let's see, it prints how I am a struct from handle function. So this is one way of how we can write it. But if we want to have here something here instead of null, there is another way as well of it we can make use of. So for example, currently I have done things like this. So what I will do is I'll remove this line here. Now instead of passing an address of that custom handler and then passing a value to it, what I will do, I'll declare it using a different syntax. I'll say where C as a custom handler and I'll say C dot. There is another way. This is another way where we can assign value to the custom handler. And I'll say the value is this. Now here, so there are two ways. Now passing nil here means that the default serve mux will be initialized by the Golang runtime internally. But what if I want to do it myself? There is a way. I'll say mux, then I'll say http.new serve mux. Using this, it will initialize the same instance of the default serve mux, but this is explicitly created by me. Now I will say mux.handle. And inside this handle, I'll say, okay, I want to route it based on the get data. Whenever it will come, I'll pass C to it. Now, the functionality of this is exactly the same of what program it was we were having previously, but the only difference is here the custom handler or the struct declaration and initialization is different. And here we have explicitly created the instance of the default serve mux. Now, instead of nil here, we'll pass mux. Now let me show you the output will be exactly the same. It will say, hi, I am a struct from handle function. Let's come here. Let me close it. Let me open it for you again. You see, it says, hi, I am a struct from the default function. Now let's try to return a JSON from the API here. Now currently it is just printing everything like this. Now let's try to return a JSON of, if I want to return a JSON, what I need to do is, I just need to use the Marshall or the HTTP JSON package for it, right? Let's use it here. I'll say, okay, now J is the package. I do not care about this. I'll say JSON dot Marshall. What I want to Marshall is, I want to Marshall an struct, the value of the struct that is coming in. And finally, I will say w.write J. Now, in my previous, when I was explaining the HandleFunc, I can say that we can play around with the headers and do some stuff with it. Let's do the same with here as well. Now, say, for example, I want to set the content type as application JSON forcefully here. So what I will do is I will say response object dot header dot set. Now, which header I want to set is content type. What should be the value of the header? It should be application slash JSON. Now, if rather than this, I want to add a new header as well, I'll say header dot add. What's the header? It's test. Now, what should be the value of the header? It should be test value. Now, what I want to do also is I want to uh, add a status code as well to it, right? So I'll say w dot write header. Now, write header, I'll say http dot status okay. Status okay means 200 status code. And finally, so here, what I have done is whenever this function is called from here, whenever the route is get data, it will first convert the output. That means this struct to JSON. Then it will set the header of content type to application JSON. Then it will add an response header with the name of test and the value is test value. Then it will say, okay, the response code is forcefully 200. That is okay. And it will finally write the output. Now let me show you programmatically here. Let's do it like this. It says allow. Now let me show you in the browser window, in the network tab. Now let's hit this. You see, this is a JSON. If we'll go to the network tab, say get data, it says the status is 200. Let's look into it and look into the response header. It says the content type is application JSON, same as we have said. It says there is an header called test and the value is test value as we have stated here. And it says the status code is 200. Now let's do one thing. Let's change the status code of say status bad gateway, that is 502. To be noted here is we are just setting the status code and we are not restricting the API to respond, right? So what will happen is everything will remain same. The only thing that will change is the status code. Now let me close it, run the program again for you. It ran and let me run it from here. You see the status is 502. So basically content type is same, test is same, the status code is 502. Why? Because we have forcefully added the status code in. Now, when we use the handle func inside of handle here, right? So there are two methods, handle and handle func, to handle the route or write an API. So internally, handle func also does the same thing of what we are explicitly doing using the handle function. That is, Golang will create an struct internally and then will call the server HTTP method to serve the API. The only difference is the handle function gives us more flexibility over the HandleFunc function. Like we can play around with the user-defined type here, right? Because we are creating it. We can pass methods on runtime. This is how we are passing the method. That's the receiving method that we are passing. Now, important to note here is handle function is for the small APIs where we just have to write a small logic based on the route, right? We can quickly develop our API using the handle function. For example, API for arithmetic operation that may have multiple endpoints, say add for adding to objects, subtract for subtracting to object, etc. Now, with Golang, we have seen that how it is easy to write a web service. We just have two methods, handle and handle func, and we can make use of it to create a web service. And obviously, there are complications around handling errors, fetching data, etc. But that will be covered in the more advanced topic for it. Now, let's talk about the default handlers present in the Golang. So there are certain default handlers. I talk about three main important handlers that I think are, that is a not found handler, redirect handler, and timeout handler. So let's first understand what a not found handler is. Now, not found handler, suppose I want my request to be served at a route uh, only if the method is get, and if the method is post, I want to return a 404. I'll make use of not found handler, right? So let me show you here like okay, so let me show you a not found handler practically here. Let me comment this part for you, and I'll say here if get data request will come, so just say http dot not found handler, just call the not found handler. So by just doing this, what will happen is Golang will internally update the status code to 404 and it will say page not found automatically for me. I don't have to write even a single word for making it a 404. Now let's see the practical example here. Now here, if I will say get data, it says 404, page not found. Now output is 404, get data, it says 404. So this is basically one scenario where we can use. And now here, instead of this, if I can use 404 here as well, I'll say C. And in this custom function, which is being called here, receiver function, I can write my custom logic specifying that, okay, if this is the condition, then call for a not found handler rather than returning the output. So in a simple logic, I can do this as well. Now let's talk about another handler that is a default handler. Or, oh, I'm sorry, let's talk about the redirect handler. Now, what this redirect handler is, this handler is used to redirect to any other URL. Let me show you how. So let me comment this for you, or let me remove it. And here I'll make use of redirect handler. Now what? Let's now must is being created. That's perfectly okay. So what I have done here is created a mux. Now I'll say mux.handle on this. Using this, I will say http dot redirect handler. Inside this, you see it says URL string and code integer. Redirect handler returns a request handler that redirects each request it receives to given URL using the given status code. Now, this is very important. The provided code should be 3xx in range and is usually status moved permanently, status found, or status C other. What if the status code is different to this? What will happen? We'll see in a bit. Let's see here. Now here I have given a redirect handler and I am saying, okay, go to http google.com. Now here I will say http dot status code of what they have told is status move permanently. Move permanent. And I will do it. Now, just using this handler, what will happen is whenever my route will be get data, it will be redirected to google.com. Pretty simple, right? Let's do it https here. Now let me run it to show you. Let me go now access. Let me go back to the API. Let me run it. You see it redirects me my message to the google.com. Now, as you have seen in the documentation, it says the provided code B should be p-x-axis in range. Now let's talk about the timeout handler. Now what timeout handler is? To handle an API HTTP timeout error in Go, we use os.isTimeout function from the built-in OS function. It returns true if the request time limit has been exceeded, or it will return false. Now let me explain this handler by writing a program to call a URL and will time out the program in case we do not receive the response in 1 nanosecond. Now let me quickly remove it, or let me have it. Okay, let me quickly remove it. Now what I will do is I'll have a HTTP GET call. I'll use HTTP client where I will do HTTP dot client. Now I will in that client I'll say for that client the timeout is equal to 1 nanosecond. 1 cross time dot nanosecond. Now using this HTTP client, I will create a request and I will attach this HTTP client to this. Now I'll say I want a request. Now error, in case of any error, I'll say HTTP dot. I want to make a new request. Now the request type is HTTP dot method get. Where I want to make a request to is say https google.com. This is where I want to make a request to. Now the third parameter is nil because I do not want to have any reader associated with it. I'll say if error, let's not talk about error here because I do not care about it here. Now then in the next, okay, in the next line, what we'll do is I'll say, okay, I do not care about the error, colon error colon equal to, I'll use the HTTP client dot do. What I want to do is with this is I want to do a request with it. Now I'll attach a condition here. I'll say if os dot is timeout error, then do what is fmt dot println. What say okay, timeout for you and print the error associated. Now what I have written in this program? In this program, I have created an HTTP client. With that client, I have attached, okay, this client will time out whenever time exceeds 1 nanosecond. Then I have created a request that says, okay, using get call google.com. Now I have used this client here. I'm say, okay, fire a request or for the request that I have created. And if the request now this client has a property and it's saying that, okay, if the timeout is greater than 1 nanosecond, if the time exceeds greater than 1 nanosecond, then report this error. So what will happen is we obviously cannot get a response from any of the website within 1 nanosecond. So it will say, okay, it is timeout for this request and it will print the error field. Now let me show you a practical example here. I have run the API for you. You see, it says timeout you are receiving because let me do it. You see, it says timeout, get this, context deadline exceed, client.timeout exceed while waiting for the header. So this is all about how we can write a handler function how we can write an API using the handler function, different handlers, and how we can play around with the handler function in Golang for writing an API. Thank you very much. Please do like, subscribe, or comment if you like my videos. Thank you.